So after hearing the beautiful words of Genendy, I feel like I don't really have much more that I can add, but Bezrat Hashem, let's put the cherry on top. Bezrat Hashem. So I wanted to just make mention of the whole idea of the Seudat Lamavei Malka, because I know that's something that we don't necessarily always pay attention to. I certainly don't. It was in your schut that I decided to wash and go the whole 9 yards. So one of the reasons why we celebrate this very, very important Seudah is that we're told by our Chazal that this Seudah, with this Seudah, we're actually closing up all the brachas of Shabbat. So basically, we have the 3 meals. We know that. The first meal is Keneged Avraham, which enables us to be saved from the severity of Gehenom. The second Seudah that we eat is in the schut of Yitzchak, which saves us from Chevlei Mashiach, from the birth pangs of Mashiach. The third Seudah Shlishit, is in the schut of Yaakov Avinu, which saves us from Gog and Magog. And the fourth one brings down all this compassion, sort of wraps everything up in the schut of David HaMelech. And what we're saved from in this Seudah is what's called Chibut HaKever, the inflictions of the grave. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, what that is, but basically there's a teaching that's brought down. It's not just a teaching; it's the way of departing from this world. That when a person passes on, depending on there's certain days that this is not the regularity of the burial, but basically in order to take the neshama out from the body, angels come after the burial is done, after the person is buried. I'm sorry, but I think it's important. I'm sorry that I have to be like this visual. I hope it doesn't give anybody sleeping traumas tonight. If you do, call me in the morning. Please, Hashem, not 4 in the morning. But it's important. Again, we have to serve Hashem from Ahava and Yira. We need both. We really do. We need to understand there are consequences and there are rewards. There's punishments, but there's a lot of beauty in what Hashem is asking us to do. So the angels go down into the grave, lift the person up, and basically shake them from side to side, taking out whatever remnants of their nefesh is left. And that's called chibut hakever. It's basically shaking the person. Now, for tzaddikim, it's told, and we're told by Chazal, for tzaddikim, it's easy enough, where the angels just basically lift them up and taking out the spark of their nefesh that's left in the grave, is like taking a feather out from a bowl of milk. It's very easy. Just pull it out, and then he goes back down, and that's it. And then the rest of the system, happens on its own in terms of how the neshama gets its aliyah. But for most of us, as the Balatanya says, halavai beinoni, right? Halavai, that we should be in the dargah where we should have that easy departure from body from soul. It's like taking out a thorn from a haystack of cotton. That it's like it keeps holding on to it and holding on to it. So here we have this opportunity on Seudah Levi'it to be able to save ourselves from this more difficult part in terms of our departure from this world. In addition to that, it's in Seudah Malavei Malka that we also, Be'ezrat Hashem, have the schut to be able to also awaken the Mashiach energy within us. And we all know that we have to relive and revive that energy called Mashiach within each one of us before Mashiach appears on the scene, God willing, very soon, God willing, tonight. I don't know if anybody knows. Does anybody have an issue sleeping Motzei Shabbat? Have a little bit more of a difficult time sleeping on Motzei Shabbat? We all think, yeah? We all think that it's because we slept. We did the shlufi, right, on Shabbat. So like, I'm not really tired. You know what? They say that's not the reason. It's because deep down in our soul, we're waiting for Eliyahu Navi Zachu Latov, right? We think Mashiach, like Eliyahu Navi is supposed to come, and he's supposed to bring Mashiach, announce Mashiach, so we can't sleep Motzei Shabbat. It's to that point that when you really, really, we understand this, that even though subconsciously, we have all these emotions, we have all these feelings, but we're able to really awaken it, particularly when we bring about the Seudah. And the Seudah is really also a Seudah of Simcha. We're supposed to be eating the Simcha, just like we eat on Shabbos. We have the chocolate cake and we have the candies and all the junk we're not supposed to eat. And we shouldn't feel guilty. Same thing, party all the way, Motzei Shabbat as well. As we said before, I actually wrote it down. Someone asked how to say Malukma. You could pass it around if someone needs to right?
What is
Right. So melugma means refuah, for refuah. So the Gemara brings down and says that there are three things. Huh? Legima. Right. But it's for refuah. For refuah. So there are three things that we should be doing every Motzei Shabbat in preparation for Malavei Malka. One, drink something warm. And when you drink something warm, it doesn't matter what you're drinking, right? From your coffee to your tea to your hot cocoa with the marshmallows on top, right? You say Shtiya Chama b'Motzei Shabbat Melugma. Okay, that's what you say, and then you say your bracha shehakol. And the second thing is you should try to eat something warm, and no matter what that item is, you should say chamin b'Motzei Shabbat Melugma. It doesn't matter if it's not really chamin. Don't worry, you don't have to eat more chamin on Motzei Shabbat if you don't have it. And the third thing, you don't say anything, but you just take a warm shower. Those three things the Gemara brings down that if you want to start off your week with an energy, Be'ezrat Hashem, of refuah, Be'ezrat Hashem, that's what we should be doing. Now, we also know that, of course, we're looking forward to Tchiyat HaMeitim, right? For all of those, something so important. I want to piggyback back off of what Genendy said about loving and cherishing your body. One of the most fundamental teachings of the Baal Shem Tov is he teaches us, up until the days of the Baal Shem Tov, we looked at our bodies. We were told, the Chachamim of that generation, up until that generation, we were told that the body was the enemy, and we have to go after it and destroy it and lessen its power on us. And that's why up until then, what would the Gdolim and the Tzaddikim do? They would roll around in snow. They would fast from Shabbos to Shabbos. They would do anything they would deaden their taivas to the point where the body was considered the enemy of the soul. Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh appears on the scene, and what does he say? He says, no, Chevra, don't you understand? Tchiyat HaMeitim, hello? How are you going to get up from the grave other than with your body? Right? You need that body. Your body is a factory of mitzvahs. Right? Just like Genendy said, how are you going to go and walk to do a mitzvah? How are you going to hug your child? How are you going to cook soup? How are you going to go ahead and do all the things that you do? How can you do it other than unless you love your body? Loving your body is a mitzvah. You need to take care of your body. You need to say thank you. Rabbi Nachman says every day, say thank you to your body. Every time I say Asher Yatzar, I sit down, and I don't sit down necessarily, but I close my eyes and I think about the grinding that goes on in my stomach in order to have brought about that, with all due respect, whatever happened in the bathroom, right? Think about it. Say thank you to your organs. Thank you for taking me and taking all that food. I shoved all that cholent down your stomach, and I made you work. The liver, the poor liver. What did the liver have to do to take that cholent out of my system and leave me only with the nutrients, right? Say thank you to your body. Right? So Tchiyat HaMeitim, one of the ways that we can have the zchut to be able to awaken that zchut, to be able to, God willing, be zochet to Tchiyat HaMeitim, is by eating Seudat Levi'it. Because as we know, there's one organ, there's one bone in the body called the loz, right? The luz bone, which is there's two different opinions. Most agree that it's the one at the base of your skull. Mm-hmm. So some will say it's at the base of your skull. Some will say it's actually that bone that sticks out on the base of your neck. Mm-hmm. But in any case, it's from that's the only bone that if, God forbid, a person ever burned to death, that bone would never disappear. That's the Tchiyat HaMeitim. That's the Tchiyat HaMeitim bone. And the only way we nourish that bone is by eating Seudah Shlishit. So, Revi'it. Okay, the numbers. Yes, right, exactly. Seudah Revi'it Malavei Malka. So at the end of the day, we should really try to take it upon ourselves and eat with joy. And even if it's kizayit, some will say that, okay, you can't eat, something warm. You can have a fruit. Say, this is l'chvod David HaMelech. Anything you could do. You can't have anything. To have at least the Shtiya Chama b'Motzei Shabbat Melugma. Do something and have it with your kavana. Remember, everything is kavana. Have it in your mind that I want to be able to, Be'ezrat Hashem, at least be able to do this, l'chvod David HaMelech, to bring more koach, to bring more zchuyot for Am Yisrael, and we need it. We really, really, really need it. So I'm not going to really say all the things that I wanted to say, so I'm closing my book at this point, but I just want to say this. One of the reasons when Genendy and we were talking a couple weeks ago, and she said, I want to do the Seudat Hodaya, I said to her, you know what, I'm also gonna piggyback. I'm piggybacking a lot on you tonight. I said I really wanna, be involved in it. So I just want to share with you all the importance of saying thank you. What does it mean to say thank you? So I decided, and my very dear friend Leah, has been to one of my, a few of my Seudat, Sa'adeni ve'evashea. So there's a Seudah that we do, a Seudat Hodaya, for something that has not yet happened. It's called Sa'adeni ve'evashea. Sa'adeni means prepare the meal, ve'evashea. I will see the salvation for it. It's from Tehillim, and I'll give you the source from it in two different places. It's from Tehillim. It's one of the last psukim of Tehillim. It's sort of towards the end of Sefer Tehillim. I don't remember exactly which one. So I'll give you two stories on it. One of them was Reb Zusha Mianipoli. I think actually his yahrzeit is coming up, if I'm not mistaken, this week. If I'm not mistaken, I think Reb Zusha's this week. Do you know? No. Okay. So in any case, he one day was sick, and he told his disciples, and the doctor said, "That's it. He's deadly sick." And he said to his disciples, "Sa'adeni ve'evashea, prepare for us already the meal, and in the zchut of proclaiming my thanks to Hashem, I will see the Yeshua." I'm thinking about Mayan now. Suddenly I'm thinking about Mayan. We need to do a Sa'adeni ve'evashea for Mayan. Be'ezrat Hashem. And I tell you, every time I've done a Sa'adeni ve'evashea, the Yeshua comes. It's baduk u'menuseh. I'm telling you. Oh, now everyone's going to be popping up like mushrooms. Everyone's going to be doing Sa'adeni ve'evashea. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
We're there.
And so,
How come it's not chutzpah that we're like forcing?
no, it's a proclamation of our Emuna that we know that there's... Now, hold on. Ve'evashea means, hold on. So first of all, Reb Zusha went ahead and did it, and sure enough, he got his Yeshua. The idea is, and it's a very good question, if we understand the basis of Emuna and Bitachon, we understand one thing. What is Emuna? Emuna means that I'm wiping out all my past Emunot. I'm clearing my head out from all the Emunas. What are past Emunas? Past Emunas that my brain believes are truths. And we all have this. I believe I'm fat. I believe I'll never get skinny. I believe that I'm going to always be destined to live an unhappy marriage. I believe I'll always be... We have all these limiting beliefs. Emuna means I'm wiping all that out, and I only want one thing to reside in my brain, and that is Emunat Hashem. I believe that whatever happens, whatever I'm witnessing, whatever goes on in my life, it's all Hashem. That's all Emuna is. Emuna is me remembering there's a Hashem. That then drops into the second stage of Emuna, and that's called Bitachon. Now, once I know everything's Hashem, now I have who to rely on, right? I'm not limited. Who's this Hashem? Endless opportunities. I'm never stuck. Everything can happen. Everything's available for me because Hashem is infinite. Everything can happen. So the minute I let go of all my limitations and I tap into the infinite possibilities, now the question is, with Bitachon, the Nisayon is, like you said, how do I determine what the Yeshua needs to be? I don't know. I know that a Yeshua is going to come. Do I know what the Yeshua is? Do I know exactly what a Yeshua is for me? Maybe the Yeshua is Hashem Yerachem, somebody who's sick, and the Yeshua is they should die without suffering, or 3 days less of suffering, but still get as though they lived those extra 3 days, as though they did mitzvahs in those 3. I don't know. That's the whole idea of Emuna, is I don't know. Emuna means I'm okay to say to Hashem, I don't know. I really don't. Do I know what's good? Do I know what a Yeshua is? How can I gauge and that's again, if I know what good is, I'm already not with Hashem. Why? Because I limited it. I put it in a package. The minute I'm able to define good or bad, I'm away from Hashem. And that's the source of all pain.
Wow.
The source of all pain is when I put my pea-sized brain in charge of what I think Hashem can do, can't do, should do, what's good to do, what's bad to do. The minute I come up with any definition of good or bad and anything in between, I'm away from Hashem. Because the idea is I need to have Emunah in Hashem. Emunah in Hashem means I'm batel u'mevutal. I have no beliefs. I don't know what the Yeshua is, but I know a Yeshua is coming. And that's bitachon. When you do a Sa'adeni ve'evashea, you say, I have bitachon that I know that the good is going to be. What is that good? I don't know what you're doing up there in your workshop. I have no idea what you're planning and all your workmen's and your angels are. I don't know what you're doing up there, but I know and I believe and trust that there's good. And I don't know what that good is, but I know that you know, and I'm okay knowing that you know that you're going to deliver good for me. So I'm doing this Sa'adeni Ve'Vashea because 12 years ago, my husband and I, before we made Aliyah, we declared bankruptcy in the States. We came here literally with enough money to pay for rent for 3 months, to buy the 3 major appliances. And we came here literally not knowing, with 5 kids, what we're going to do next. We literally did not know what we're going to do next. And I'll just say, I have to say this if I'm already here. I remember that my husband my husband's a chevra man. He's a really chevra man. He likes to meet, where he meets, he speaks, he talks. He's an Avram Avinu. Yes, Avram Avinu talked to every Moshmo right in the street. Well, that's my Avram, right? That's my husband. Anyway, so he ends up speaking to one guy in Kollel, and the guy says, you know what? You're a caterer. You know what? Guess what? There's an ulam in the Kiryah, and I think the Rav wants to rent it. Why don't you speak to him about it? And I was like, I said, okay, maybe, hey, look, we go in there, we go into the ulam, the klepet ulam. Really, I'm not looking at it, I'm like, compared to what we were working in, I'm a chef by profession, right? Compared to what I was working in when I was in the States, this is like really decrepit. Are we going to really, but then we were told, but the kiriyah, it's okay, they accept it, they just make good food, good food, and you'll be fine. So we're coming out, and my husband's behind me, I'm walking in front of him, and I won't forget this ever. And he says to me, so Orit, what do you think about it? I turn around and I see the sign of the ulam. What's the sign of the ulam? Chesed la'Avraham. And I looked at him and I said, you asking me? Do you not see the sign on the wall? Do you not see the sign on the wall? Chesed la'Avraham? You're asking if we should take the ulam? Take it! What are you talking about?
The handwriting on the wall.
It's the handwriting on the wall. Till today, it's still called Chesed Avram, even though he's not working in it. It's really funny. But it was really such hashgacha, So why am I saying? I'm saying that Be'ezrat Hashem, I said I'm going to do a Sa'adeni Ve'Vashea because I know we bought 10 mezuzahs. I told my husband 2 months ago, you're buying 10 mezuzahs. I don't know if we're going to have 10 rooms or 10 doorposts, but you're going to buy 10 mezuzahs. I bought the name. Welcome to the Riter home. It's in my drawer. I said, Hashem, I'm thanking you in advance for the beautiful home. Me'otzar matnat chinam. You have a treasure house up in Shemaim. It's called Otzar matnat chinam. Right? There's a treasure called matnat chinam. I don't deserve a house, Hashem. I don't deserve a house. I have what I have. I have my children here. Everyone's okay. We went through traumas and we're still breathing 6 feet above ground. I don't have a right to ask you anything. But you're my father. I love you. You love me. You know I'm trying my best to serve you. You're amazing. You do everything for me. I'm asking from that place. And Be'ezrat Hashem, Sa'adeni Ve'Vashea, Be'ezrat Hashem, I'm going to send it out to everyone, whoever the needs, their Yeshuot and Nechamot. Hashem this should be your Sa'adeni Ve'Vashea. And Be'ezrat Hashem, really make sure that you do these Seudot, because you profess with that and you say to Hashem, I know you love me. And I know that there's you just want me to realize this through the darkness, right? Where did Moshe Rabbeinu meet Hashem? In the clouds. So you have to just wait, right? When the air sort of passes by and the clouds move, you get to see Hashem's true light. And Be'ezrat Hashem, everyone will be able to be zocha to see it as Genendy is teaching us how important it is. And yes, I'm going to say this also. Everyone chose their mission. You knew exactly who you were marrying. You knew exactly your children that you were going to have. You knew exactly the circumstances of your life. You knew everything. And you chose and you said, yep, I'll take that one. And because of the fact that you saw 5,782 years before, and you saw until the coming of Mashiach, and you recognized what amazing light was going to come out of you if you go through all those circumstances of your life. And it's in that zchut you can do a Sa'adeni Ve'Vashea, because you want to be able to extract from the recesses of your mind that soul memory that's imprinted, and that's the Emuna, by the way. How can I be in that place of Emuna? Because at one point or another, you and I saw the spectrum. We had a little bit of that godly vision. We saw what this was going to produce. We saw the light. from everything that we're going through. And we have to just ask Hashem to remind us of that memory, to bring and awaken that imprint in our memory, Be'ezrat Hashem, and it should serve us to really be able to see in the revealed way the Yeshuot of Hashem Bekarov Mamash, with the Geula Krova B'meha V'yameinu Amen.
Amen.
Shavua Tov Mevorach. It should be a Chodesh Tov Mevorach, Be'ezrat Hashem. Thank you so much. Thank you, Genendy.
I want to say, first of all, thank you, Hashem, for the opportunity to thank Hashem. Thank you, Hashem, for the opportunity to thank Hashem. It's the biggest chus. And thank you, Orit, for hosting us. Can we give her a round of applause?
That's my husband deserves that round.
And for her husband. And in the chus, Orit, Hashem should see the size of a house you really need in order to be able to host all the women that come, that are drawn to you by the Torah and by the healing that you offer the world. And Hashem should bless you with a house that's big enough and beautiful that could host 100 women if you need to.
Amen. Very soon for all of Am Yisrael.
And with health and parnasa and nachos from your children. And
Amen.
shalom bayis.
Kol Am Yisrael. Amen.
Okay. Before I have so many thank yous. I just, when you have so many thank yous, you have to make it an event. So, but before we do that, I just want to do a little bit of learning. Actually, I want to show you this sefer. This is a very, very special sefer. It's called Bishvili Nevra Ha'olam, and it's written by the Bilvavi.
Oh,
The
Itamar
Bilvavi.
Schwartz.
Yeah, Rabbi Itamar Schwartz. He wrote this sefer, and of course he doesn't put his name on it. And it's about self-esteem. And I'm learning it for the third time. And I'm learning it right now with my friend Hadass Boxer. And today we read something that I felt like was so powerful. I said, you know what? I want to do some learning at this event, and I want to dedicate it to the schus. This is Ma'ayani, the schus of Ma'ayan Bas Devora Hadassah, who really needs our tefillos, and Hashem should give her a refuah. Shleima b'karov. We should dance together to Yerushalayim, to the Beis Hamikdash. This is her mother, Devora Hadassah.
Amen.
She's a beautiful, beautiful girl. Bli Ayin Hara. I also want to know if there's any other names you want to say to dedicate the learning to, and the
Yosef ben Orit, not
Okay.
me. I'm not the Orit.
okay.
He's going through a nituach on Wednesday in Germany to remove a tumor from his head. He's a friend of my boy. And yeshiva, Be'ezrat Hashem, amen.
Yehudit Bat Razel.
For Refuah Shalema.
Elisha Rachel bat Yehudi
For Refuah Shalema. Okay.
and Bela bat Rachel.
Okay.
That's right.
Shem
And
Refuah Shalema.
Ariella bat Fanny Tzipora.
Amen.
Brother-in-law's mother is unconscious for about a month.
Oh, okay. For Refuah Shalema. So, if I'm not so good with the Hebrew, so Hadassah is going to help me. I have trouble translating something, but we did do it today, and it was just, Hadassah, would you agree? It was very, very special. And I think it's something we're all working on, so it's very relevant. There's 5 chapters in the Sefer, and I'm just so you get a sense.
in English?
I don't think this one is in English.
Oh.
The first one is called Bishvili Nevra Ha'olam. The second chapter is Vayigba Libo B'darchei Hashem. Then Va'alti Rasha B'fnei Atzmecha. And the chapter that we're learning now is Ivdu Es Hashem B'simcha. So it's about happiness. And then the last chapter is Chastecha Hashem Ala Haaretz. And it's an incredible sefer, and it's meant to be, I think, learned every month. Like he divided, it's like you should go through it every month. This is taking us a lot longer than that, but we're good. We'll get through it eventually.
Hashem's time.
Yeah. Okay. HaMitzvah b'li simcha p'huma. V'hine min HaMitzvah hazot shehutzrach hakatuv litzavot otanu b'simcha b'fratut. Mize neda kama chaviva hasimcha lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We tend to think that hine min HaMitzvah hazot shehutzrach hakatuv litzavot otanu b'simcha b'fratut. What did we say? And here, from this mitzvah, Hashem commands us to, clearly that each part of a mitzvah is to do it b'simcha. Is that correct? Mizeh neida kama chaviva simcha lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is how we know that simcha is very, very important to Hashem. V'kama chayav ha'adam lizaher ba, and how careful we have to be in it. Ve'al yomar ha'adam, a person should not say, me'achar shekiyamti mitzvat Hashem ketikuna, ma magia la mitzvah yitaron min hashamayim v'geiraon min ha'ma'atzeva. Like, I did the mitzvah properly. I did everything I was supposed to do. So I didn't do it b'simcha. I'm not happy right now. Hine da shebe'emet hasimcha hi mitzvah b'fnei atzma. Simcha is a mitzvah itself, in itself. Uvehader hasimcha yesh chisaron la mitzvah. So if you do a mitzvah without simcha, it's missing something. It's not that you shouldn't do it, and it's not that you should beat up on yourself if you didn't do it b'simcha, but the goal is to do it b'simcha, because otherwise it is missing something. V'kol sheken she'agia la nezek gadol min ha'itzavon. And the sadness damages the mitzvah. Dilchach nachit karat litzavot b'fratut al hasimcha. So therefore, we're specifically commanded to do mitzvah with joy. K'dei she'yeh ha'adam mekabel ala haschar shalem b'fnei atzmo. So a person should have the schar of doing the mitzvah. That's from the Ben Ish Chai. Ha'hanaha me'a mitzvah mitzvah. The enjoyment of a mitzvah is a mitzvah. So when we were learning this, I was thinking, it makes so much sense that a mitzvah, the whole intention, the whole reason Hashem gave us the mitzvot is because He wants us to be happy. And He's giving us so many opportunities to connect with Him. And when we're truly connecting with Hashem, with all the different levels of our neshama, it's impossible not to be happy. When it's an integrated connection, it's the greatest joy you could ever experience. And when you do a mitzvah from that place of connection and integration, it brings joy that is unbelievable, that we can't imagine. And we were talking, Hadassah and I, about how, when someone has, eats or, does something that brings pleasure to their nefesh, then they enjoy it. It brings simcha, but it's very fleeting. It's just in that moment that they're doing it and it's gone. It doesn't fill them up. But when you're doing these same acts of eating and other physical acts that bring pleasure, if you're doing it from a place of connection to all of the levels of your neshama, nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida, when you're connected, you could get to the place of people take drugs to get to that place of expansiveness and connection and wholeness and just joy, just deep, deep joy that, people try to skip the levels and go to drugs, and that's the problem because it's not connected. It's disconnected from the rest of their reality, and therefore it hurts them. But if we go through the hard work of connecting all those levels, then we can get to that kind of simcha without drugs. And it's incredible. And I think that's the point and the purpose of the mitzvah, and that's what we're working towards. So that's what I wanted to share. Is there anything else, Hadass, that you think is important that we should add? So in the schos of Rufo Shalema, Mayani, Mayan Bastador Hadassah. Okay.
Wellsprings continue. I have to leave it open. I'm sorry. That's one of the requirements.
Not all of it, but just a little bit.
I'm happy to do that. I'm not a paranoia, but my husband said if we're not doing mass, we got to leave this stuff open.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's fine. That's fine. Just,
Okay.
it's a little
Okay.
short. You got this one open and that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, wow. So why am I making this Seudat Hodaya? For those of you who might not know, a year ago, I had very complicated surgery. I literally, my insides were falling out. I had a very severe prolapse, and I had to have surgery. And it didn't seem like such a big deal, but it was a big deal. My quality of life was definitely it was difficult. I was in pain. It was hard to walk. It was hard to move. It was hard to stand for any length of time. And I went through the surgery. I was in the hospital for about 5 days, and it took me a month in bed, and then another month to get out of bed and work part-time. And then, it was just a year pretty much that I felt, wow, I really healed. And they said there was only 80% chance that the surgery would work. And I'm jogging in the morning and I'm not in pain, and I'm just so grateful to Hashem for the healing. And I want to say thank you. And first of all, I feel very humbled speaking and learning in front of so many of the women here. I just feel like are head and shoulders above me, and I'm just like, I just ask Mechila for speaking in front of you and so many other women. I'm just like, okay.
I'm so happy to not be teaching. I'm so happy to be a student. I'm absorbing all this. I love it.
I'm feeling very, very humbled, and it's a big schus to be able to speak in front of so many very special, wonderful, incredible women who are here tonight. So thank you for coming and helping me say thank you to Hashem and being a witness to Nisim and Chesed from Hashem. So there's just some people who I absolutely could not have went through that healing process without their help. At the time of the surgery, my husband was ill, and as much as he wanted to be there for me every second, he couldn't. And Hashem just showed me that, sometimes we think that the source of our healing or the source of what we need is supposed to come from a certain place. Like I should this, my family should this, my parents should this, my husband should this. And it doesn't come from that place, but it comes from someplace else. And I've seen over and over in my life that even if I couldn't get certain things from people who should be able to give it to me, I've gotten it from other places and in ways that I could not have imagined. So I want to say thank you to first of all, Miriam Siegel. Where are you? Miriam she took me into the surgery and out of it and really helped me heal, in not just physically but in so many different ways. So Miriam, thank you. So special. I'm so happy you were able to make it tonight. It wasn't clear that you could come. Hashem decided you were supposed to be here. And Hadass, my husband couldn't come to take me into the surgery, and Hadass showed up like on the spur of the moment. And not only did she take me into the surgery, but she was a voice who advocated for me, and I'll tell you more about that. It was incredible what happened there. It was really nisim. And I'll tell you more about why it was such a challenging thing. But I want to thank my friend Eva, who couldn't make it tonight. She also showed up, afterwards, and just brought me things. It was just, and took me afterwards, like I was supposed to walk for 15 minutes a day afterwards, and it took me like literally 15 minutes to walk to the corner that should take 10 seconds, and she just walked with me that slowly, and she was just really there for me. And she couldn't come tonight. She wasn't feeling well. So I just want to say thank you to Eva Solar. I don't know how many of you know her.
Oh, yeah.
Eva Solar, yeah. I really wanted her to be here. Lisa, my friend Lisa, who's here with her baby Ruti. Lisa was at my son's birth, who's 20, and she cut the cord, and she was at my second son's birth. Did you cut the cord for Ben too? I think you did, yeah. She's just, she's a sister, like in so many, I have a lot of sisters here, I have to say. A lot of sisters here, but Lisa goes the furthest back. She goes back the furthest, and I'm so honored that you could be here, Lisa, and you came to the hospital, and you took care of me, and you were just, I felt like if I needed a sister, I don't have family here, and my sisters were there for me. They just were. And you definitely were there for me. Even though you had a baby. You came. You had 2 babies at home. You came. Elisheva. Where's Elisheva? Elisheva just, oh my gosh, it was so special. She brought me food. She came to visit. You were just there. And I, it's isolating to be in bed. It's really isolating, and she just came and she kept me company, and she was there, and I really enjoyed your company and your delicious food, and Debbie, you made me food, and so many people just sent over healthy food. It was amazing. So, did I miss somebody? I'm like so scared that I missed somebody.
You just say whoever.
If I missed somebody, and you can think of it, you can tell me after. Oh gosh, she's not here either. I said, my friend Atar Waxman. She's another sister. Atar Waxman and her husband, Rabbi Waxman. They took me out of the hospital. Rabbi Waxman wheeled me to the car. And Atara came every Shabbos for the first month just to be with me, and she's in America now. so she couldn't make it. And this is a recording, right? Because I want her to see it. And she also, like, it was just amazing the way she was there for me and her husband, and they just took care of me. Like, Hashem took care of me. Hashem sent me everything I needed. It was really amazing. Thank you, Hashem. Now, before I tell you why the surgery was so challenging, more than just physically, I want to tell you about something that happened to me. I'm going to tell you very briefly something that happened to me. I was given a very, very special gift from Hashem on Yom Kippur 5 years ago, over 5 years ago. I believe that each of us, there is a source for this. So I don't know if you're the one who told me the source, or Rabbi Haber, but before we're born, we are shown our life mission, and we agree to it.
Yes.
Now,
Talk about that a lot.
yeah, and we agreed to it. And I never really understood that, especially considering the really intense challenges that I had to go through, especially as a young child, where I was sexually abused and in a yeshiva, and it was just horrific, and trying to heal from that was just horrific, and I didn't even know if I would live or if I would be able to get married and have children, and it was just like these things were not clear. And on Yom Kippur 5 years ago, I was it was, or maybe 6 years ago, 6 years ago, 5.5. I was about to publish a memoir, and I wasn't sure I was doing the right thing because I knew it would bring pain to my family, and that was not my goal. My goal is to bring healing to the world, and I didn't know I wanted to be very, very, very clear what Hashem wanted for me. I did not want to bring more pain into the world. I wanted to bring healing into the world. That was my goal. And so I davened and I said, Hashem, if this is not going to bring healing into the world, don't let it happen. But the way it happened was so full of Yad Hashem, like people just were coming to me, like, can I see your manuscript? Can I publish your book? Like, it clearly Hashem was leading me towards this. And I was davening on Yom Kippur, and I was given this awareness of the story of my neshama from before I was born until Mashiach. And I saw that before I was born, I was sitting in a meeting with a lot of neshamas, including my family, the people who abused me, and I was asked if I could please take on this mission. And because somebody needed to bring healing in this area, and this is very timely to be talking about this with what's going on now, but somebody needed to bring healing in this community, in this area. And I was basically shown that I might not succeed. It would be a very, very difficult mission. But the neshamas there told me that they would help me and that I would get everything I needed to accomplish the mission, but it would depend on my free will, on my bechira chofshit and how I would use it. And I agreed to the mission. I agreed to it because I wanted to get closer to Hashem. I felt like I was close to Hashem. I didn't really want to leave that, but I felt like there was something blocking me that I could get even closer. And through taking on this mission, if I was successful, I would get as close as I wanted. And it almost was like a selfish thing. Like, yeah, of course I'll take it on, but you guys have to help me. And I saw that on Yom Kippur, and it was such a gift because until then I always felt like I had questions about Yiddishkeit. Like I knew I believed in Hashem and I knew I believed in the Torah, but I wasn't, like, I always felt like a safety issue because of what happened to me. And after that experience, it was like questions gone, no more questions, no more doubts. Everything was very, very clear. I woke up the next morning, I was able to wash Negelwasser. I hadn't been able to wash Negelwasser before then for years because it would trigger me memories of my mother watching the baby's hands before their bris, and it was just like, it was too loaded. Everything was loaded. That was the first Yom Kippur that I managed to daven in a shul for the whole Yom Kippur without feeling like I was having flashbacks, like literally to the yeshiva. It was amazing. And I had to work very, very hard to be able to get to that point. And what I saw on that Yom Kippur was that this is what Hashem wanted me to do, and this was my mission, and I should publish this book, and this was exactly what the community needs to lead us closer to Mashiach. And I actually saw like it was, I have to tell you, it was during Musaf, of Chazaras Hashatz Musaf, the time of the Kohen Gadol's Avoda going into the Kodesh Kodashim. That was the time that I had this awareness. And I was crying, I was crying and shaking. And afterwards I thought, wow, did I hallucinate? Like, I'm fasting. Like, I didn't know if I should take it seriously or not. I'm like, wow, I saw this, and what do I think of it? Like, did that really happen? Like, was that real? Like, you know how on Yom Kippur you're fasting. But because the next morning I was suddenly able to wash Negelwasser, and then I was suddenly saying Kriya Shema Al Amitah that I hadn't said in years. it felt like my neshama, like something was fixed. Like there was a tikkun in that moment and something shifted tremendously. And it was a beautiful, beautiful experience. Also, in that awareness, my grandmother's neshama was there, and I had never met her. She died when my mother was 15, and she was 36. And she said to me, I have 2 sisters who are alive. Go see them. And I came out of there with Kippur. I'm like, I have 2 great aunts who are still alive. And I looked into it, and I found 2 great aunts in their 80s. My grandmother's sisters who are living here in Eretz Yisrael, and I went to meet them. And it was very, very significant and meaningful. And one of them put me in touch with a cousin who lives here in Ramat Beit Shemesh. I was hoping she would come tonight. And we're like soul sisters now. Her name is Blini Schloss. Some of you know her.
Wow.
And I found her through this experience on Yom Kippur because my grandmother said, my sisters are alive, go see them. And I found a cousin, and having lost an entire family, I lost my parents and 11 siblings because of the situation that happened to me. It was like Hashem gave me back in a different way. And very, very special. And we're like sisters, Blini and I, so too bad she couldn't be here. But okay, so I wanted to tell you that first because I wanted you to understand that going into this surgery, there was something. This was 4 years after that experience on Yom Kippur, and I had been on a high. Nothing could bother me. Felt like I was in Yeyud. I'm learning in a chabura with Michal Ashman here, and she's teaching us about Yeyud and Tikkun and the ratio. And I was totally in Yeyud. I published a book, and I made a film, and I was working with survivors, and then I went into the surgery, and the surgery triggered me terribly because it was in the same part of my body that I had a terrible traumatic experience as a 2.5-year-old with a doctor. And I didn't really think about it beforehand, but right before the surgery, it came up with Miriam, and I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. I was like, how am I going to do this? It was like throwing me back into the past in a way that I wasn't expecting. I had done so much healing, and I had done so much work, and I was like, how is this? How am I going to get through this and not regress? So and it was such chesed Hashem. So my hands are a little cold. There was such chesed Hashem. When I got to the hospital, my husband wasn't feeling well. He really wasn't feeling well. He had to leave, and so I was checking in pretty much by myself. And I started crying. And the head nurse said to me, she said, "What's wrong?" And I said, I'm scared. And I told her, I'm a trauma survivor, and I'm afraid that the surgery is going to bring up past memories that were really, really traumatic and horrible for me. And she said, "Don't worry, we're going to take care of you. I'm going to write in your chart. Everyone's going to be very sensitive. We've been trained in that here. No one's going to touch you without asking. No one's going to do anything without asking. We'll take care of you." And I just felt such relief. And then the next day when Hadass came, one of the things they do, like when they get ready for surgery, they take off your glasses, and it's a real like feeling of vulnerability and loss of control. And the anesthesiologist was a woman, and they let Hadass come in like mamish up to the door of the operating room, and Hadass said to them, "My friend is an incest survivor," and the woman, the anesthesiologist, she said, "Oh." She said, "I understand women who need to be in control." She said, "What do you need to help you feel safe?" Remember that? And I was like, Hashem, what do you need? Like, how many anesthesiologists, what do you need? I said, okay, I need my glasses. I said, first of all, I need my glasses. Here, you could have your glasses. You could keep them on through the whole surgery. Wow. I had my glasses. Wow. I said, I need you to play Yishai Rebo in the operating room. We're playing Yishai Rebo.
Why don't you just have him come like this?
I said, the doctor wasn't there yet. I said, are you sure the doctor's going to let? They were like, in Israel, the doctors don't choose the music. We do. We're playing Yishai Rebo. It was so supportive. It was, it was Bellinson Hospital. And they put like this weightless heated blanket on me, and she gave me the anesthesiologist gave me a squishy ball, and everyone was just she said to me, she asked me afterwards in the recovery, and I said, and when I wake up, Miriam told me that it was very, very important when I wake up that I should have my music in my ear, so I shouldn't hear, like while I'm coming out of the anesthesia, I shouldn't hear what was going on around me in the recovery room because it could be traumatic. So I told him, I need you to give me my phone with my music. She said, we'll do it. Because Miriam said, I don't know if they're going to let you have it in. It's not sterile. She said, no, we're going to do that. We're going to give you your phone right when you wake up and you can listen to your music. The other thing was, there's something else that I'm trying to remember. I remembered it a second ago. Oh, the thing that was scariest for me was going under general anesthesia. It was the fear, and Miriam, you said, like, that's going to be the hardest thing, like, to be put to sleep. And the anesthesiologist said to me, she said, you know, I have a suggestion. Let's not give you general anesthesia. Let's give you an epidural and a sleeping pill, a light sleeping pill. So when you wake up, you sort of be aware, just sleeping lightly, and the epidural will numb everything. And then when you wake up, you won't have the nausea, you won't have the disorientation. You'll just be present right away. And I was like, I didn't think of it. I didn't think of it because I knew I didn't want to be put to sleep, but I knew I didn't want to be awake. It was a 2-hour surgery. I was like, that could be really, really traumatic. Yeah. I didn't want to be awake. And this was like, Hashem sent this perfect solution that I didn't even think of, nobody thought of. And it was just amazing. And then after the surgery, and I said to her, she said, do you know what you said to me right before you fell asleep? And I said, what did I say to you? She said, I asked you how you're doing, and you said, I feel like I'm in a spa. That's how I felt. I felt like, and I can't even explain the tikkun that Hashem gave me and the opportunity for healing, because that experience that I had when I was a young child with that doctor, this reversed the whole thing. It was almost like an opportunity to do it over and to see that it could be safe, that it could be healing, that it could be nurturing, that it could be, I don't know, you tell me the word. It was like yeah, it was healing. It was just fixing the whole thing. And it was like, wow, thank you, Hashem, for the prolapse and the surgery and the healing, and the doctor, Dr. Creasy, who was amazing. And then afterwards, like, to thank them, I gave them copies of my book, and the head nurse asked me if I would do a presentation for the nurses in the hospital on the maternity ward and from the women's hospital to teach them about how to help women who've been through trauma. So I did a presentation for 60 nurses from Bellington. It was like, not only was it my own healing, but I was able to continue my yayod of educating these nurses, and it was just incredible. So thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem, for the prolapse, for the surgery, for the healing, for the tikkun, and for all the doctors and nurses and all the wonderful women who were there for me. It was just incredible experience. You can see it wasn't just the physical healing. It was just a piece of it. What else do I want to share? You know, after the surgery, I had this question. I was like, you know what? I was so out there. I've been speaking publicly about my experience. I've been, I put this book out there. I put this film out there. We made this documentary with Dalit Kimor. She's an award-winning documentary maker. She made this documentary that won first prize at a documentary film festival in France. And it won a prize at the Haifa Film Festival. I feel like we should show it because it's very timely. I feel like we should show it somewhere. It's a very powerful documentary. And then I was like, maybe Hashem was making my insides fall out because he's trying to tell me it's time to keep things in a little bit. Maybe it's time to just focus close to home. And I was like, yeah, maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing now. I'm not supposed to be speaking so much. I'm not supposed to be sharing so much. I was like, every day I go and I do his bodedut, and I ask Hashem what he wants from me. Like, what is my real job here? And the most incredible thing happened to me after I asked Hashem. I said, show me what you want me to do now, because I'm not clear what I'm supposed to be doing at this point. It was a very hard year of healing, and just emotionally not feeling directed. Like, what am I supposed to do next? Okay, so you're not gonna believe this story. It's an incredible story. I'm in Osher Ad, okay? I'm standing in line. A woman in front of me, a Sephardi Haredi woman, turns around when is the Or HaChaim's Yortzeit? It was like a few months ago. The Or HaChaim's Yortzeit.
Probably.
She turns around, she says to me, total stranger, you know, I'm making a Seudat in honor of the Or HaChaim's Yortzeit in my house tomorrow night, and I want to invite you. It brings tremendous Yeshuas. And I'm like, I never met the woman. I don't know who she is, and I'm like,
Only in Israel.
she turned around, and by the way, she was like very, I was in a hurry. I had a client. I work as a therapist also. I work as a Genendy and a therapist, and I had a client in half an hour, and I realized if I don't get out of here, I'm gonna have to see my client on Zoom in my car because I'm never gonna get home in time. But some part of me just was like, you know what? I've been taking a class with Dvor Yafa, and she's like, Shivisi Hashem Genendy Summit. Like Hashem is always with me. It's all equal to me because it's all up to Hashem. Like I have no control over it anyway, so I may as well relax. She's like, okay. She's organizing her stuff and like very meticulous, organized person. And I was like, whatever, Hashem. I was very patient. And she turns around and says, I want to invite you. I'm buying these stuff for a Seudat I'm making. I want to invite you. And I'm like, oh, where do you live? She said, I live in Ramat Bet. I was like, okay. I'll take down the address. I wasn't planning to go. I just thought it was like what I didn't really feel connected to it. The next morning, when I'm doing my Seudat, it suddenly struck me. I was like, the Or HaChaim. And I was thinking about how we did that class with for Barami at your house. We learned Jewish energy healing, and the method was called Shitat Or HaChaim.
Oh, really? That's what
Yes,
you called it?
that's what he called it. And I had been doing his meditation like every day. And I was like, there is a connection here. There is a connection here. I gotta go. I gotta go. Shitat Or HaChaim. And I had been doing the meditation every day because I was really and emotionally not in an easy place. I was really struggling. So I go to this Seudat in Ramat Bet, and it was like a very, very deep, like Haredi crowd. Like one of the women told me she'd never taken a picture of herself. Like forget a smartphone, she'd never used a camera. She'd never had a picture taken. You know, the shaved heads and the like really, and they had candles and they were chanting Tehillim, and it was like a very like spiritual, like about 12 women, all in their like 60s and 70s, and they didn't know where I came from. I just showed up. She's like, "Oh, you came," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm here." And everyone's like, "Who is she?" I'm like, "I'm here." And I said I had to take my son to the train station in 15 minutes. So I said I can't stay long. She said, "Well, at least wash." She said, "You don't understand. We're going to be here." It was 8. She said, "We're going to be here till 12. So come back." And I was like, "Look, I don't know if I'm going to come back. This feels a little awkward, but I'll wash and for the Seudat, and hopefully I'll get the Yeshua that I need." I was thinking about myself. And then, so I washed and I left and I took my son to the train station, and no, I'm about to walk out. This is very important. I'm about to walk out, and one of the women sitting there starts talking about a sexual offender, a molester in the Frum community in Eretz Yisrael, she started talking about him as if he's a malach and a tzaddik. Now, I knew personally that he's not because I spoke to one of his victims, and I've heard from therapists that they were trying to help other ones of his victims. But he's sort of a cultish figure, and she was like, he's a tzaddik, and I'm like, oh Hashem, is this why you, okay, I'm leaving. Is this why you sent me here? What am I supposed to do with this? What am I supposed to do with this? I don't want to say anything, I don't belong here, this is not my crowd, what? Why did you send me here? So I had that time when I was taking my son to the train station to think, should I go back? Should I not go back? Should I say something? Can I not say something? Like, how strange is it that Hashem led me here to this situation? Like, there's no accidents. So I went back and I said a lot of Tehillim because that's all, what they were doing. And I said, Hashem, please, if I'm supposed to speak, give me the give me the strength, because I don't really want to. I really didn't want to. I really was hoping that it was time to just get quiet. But here Hashem was putting me in a situation where, how could I not say something? So I asked the Baal Rabbi for permission to speak, and I was literally shaking, and I was like, I don't know what they're going to do to me. And she said, yeah, go ahead. So I didn't say anything about this rabbi, perpetrator, but I did tell them my story. I spoke for about half an hour, and I told them what I just told you about my experience on Yom Kippur, and how my mission is to bring healing to the Haredi community. you're not going to believe what happened. Every woman there had a story that she needed to share. One woman said, my friend's daughter was a victim. Another woman said, I'm dealing with a Rav in the community who has 14 children, and he's like a huge Talmid Chacham, and he's written a page of a sefer for each one of his kids, and he raped every one of his daughters. And nobody believes them except for one Rav. And I'm telling you, it was like group therapy. They each had a story they had to share. The woman who actually was talking about this Rav, as if he was a tzaddik, she said, it happened to me. She said, it happened to me. And she said, just now, at my age, she must have been in her late 60s, early 70s, she said, just now I'm starting to heal. And I was like, whoa. Okay, now I know I am here. They needed to talk. And they said, what can we do? How can we help you? And I said, well, I want to raise money to help survivors. I have this film. They're like, we're going to show your film. I'm like, you're right. This one woman who was sitting there, she said her brother-in-law is the head of the Eida Charedas. Like, this is the crowd. And she said, I live in the Kiryah, and I have a room, and we're going to show the film there. And I was like, really, you think? I said, maybe you should watch it first. They don't show films in the Kiryah. She said, yeah, bring it to me, I'm going to watch it. So she and 3 other women, I went there to her house, I showed them the film, and she said, now I have to find a Rav to give a haskam. And I was like, good luck with that. She calls me that Friday, she says, I spoke to a gadol in Bnei Brak. I'm not going to say his name. I told him I wasn't going to go to that Seudat. I really wasn't, but something was pulling me there. There was another woman there who wasn't really meant to be there, and she somehow just showed up there, and she talked about this, and I feel like I'm supposed to do something. And he said to her, you don't understand. He said, you have to show the film. He said, 80% of our rabbeim, of our families, have this problem. Somebody in the family that's doing this. He said, my heart is broken. I don't know what to do about it. He said, but don't publicize it. Have 10 women at a time. Do it quietly and show it to everyone. He said, if it will help. I feel like I have to sit down now. Just thinking about it, I was like, she got a haskama? What?
Sit down.
And
You want to sit down?
No, I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was completely blown away. We haven't yet shown it because they've yet to find 10 women.
Wow.
But I couldn't believe it. I felt like it was a clear message from Hashem. Like, yeah, the community needs healing in this area. The very, very Haredi community, our community, every community, it's really a big problem and something we have to heal before Mashiach comes. And it's something that we can see around us is coming to the surface and needing a tikkun, a big tikkun. So if anyone has a big house and wants to show the film, we could raise money for tzedakah. Yeah? Okay, I got one. Going once, going twice. Sold, Hadass.
10 at a time?
No. So in that community that doesn't show films, it has to be 10 at a time. In our community, he said in that community where nobody sees films and where they don't even take, some of the women don't even take pictures of themselves and certainly don't have smartphones, he said it should be 10 at a time. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I wanted to know though, if you have the patience, if to do a short meditation visualization with me we also want to say Nishmat, and Orit's going to speak for a few minutes. What time is it? Do we have time for this?
9:10.
Do we have time for this?
Why don't you do the meditation? We'll give a break, and then we'll do Nishmat and
Okay.
speak. And
Okay.
if whoever wants to stay, we'll stay. And whoever wants to go home, we'll go home.
Okay, thank you. Is that okay with everyone? So, part of my healing and the work that I had to do was to take back ownership of my body. Because when someone goes through a trauma where their control of their body is taken away from them, they need to take it back. That's a very important part of the healing. And what brought me to doing, and I do this meditation every single morning. And what brought me to do it was that I went to this talk by a woman who had, and maybe some of you were there. There was a woman who came a few years ago to Ramat Bet, and she had ALS. And she came in an ambulance, and they took her out of the ambulance in a wheelchair, and they put her on a bama, and the only thing she was able to move was her head, and she had 13% lung capacity, 13%. And she was going places in ambulances to speak to women. And I looked at this woman, and the thing she was saying, she had such simchas hachayim. She was so happy. She said, you know, I say thank you Hashem. She reminded me of you. She said, thank you Hashem that I have my lungs still, that I could speak. Thank you Hashem that I can move my head. She said, I can't hug my children. I can't, you know, she said she davened for 3 things when she lit the candles, her whole marriage. She was in her 40s, I think. She davened for 3 things: to be a good wife, a good mother, and a good daughter of Hashem. That's all she wanted. And when Hashem took away each thing from her, like the use of her legs, the use of her arms, the use of everything, she said, I guess I don't need it because Hashem, you know what I need to fulfill my mission, and I guess I don't need it anymore because I don't have it. So that's the reality. And I looked at this woman and I'm like, wow, if she could say that, I could also say thank you Hashem for my body, because my body is working. Everything's working. And the next morning when I went on my walk up to my shul, which is up on the hill, where I daven every morning, pretty much every morning, I started with my toes, and this is what I want to do with you. I want everyone to just take a deep breath, and we're all here, and we all have control of our bodies. And I'm going to ask you to help me with this meditation because I'm sure there's some things that I'm missing. But what I say is I say, thank you Hashem, and you can just wiggle your toes. Thank you Hashem for my toes and my toenails that are not in pain. And thank you Hashem for the balls of my feet and my arches and my heels that brought me here, that can walk. And they don't hurt. And thank you Hashem for my ankles and my calves and my shins and my knees and my thighs. And all the mitzvot I can do with my legs. If you want to throw out some things that you do with your legs that you're grateful for, please say something.
The tissues, the nerves,
Yes,
the follicles, the skin,
yes,
the strength, the health, the pain-freeness.
yes. The ability to walk, to go where I want.
I carry my kids up the stairs in the morning.
There you go. Without legs, you couldn't do that. You couldn't do that. And then I say, thank you, Hashem, for my intimate parts and all of my internal organs. And thank you, Hashem, for my heart that pumps blood throughout my body. Thank you for my blood and my bones, and the blood flowing through my bones, my muscles, my nerves, my arteries, my entire circulatory system. And I just connect to my body in that way. You could just feel your circulation just flowing from your head to your toes, and it's working right now in this moment. It's a nace. It's a true nace. And thank you for my lungs that breathe life and light and air into my body. And let's just take a deep breath and thank Hashem for every breath of life, for healthy lungs, for each healthy breath that we can breathe without pain. You know, the people with corona, they have such terrible breathing problems, and our lungs are working. Not at 13% either. And thank you, Hashem, for my fingers, my nails, my palms, my wrists, for the ability to grasp and hold and open and close and push and pull and twist and turn and raise and lower and type and swipe and hug and caress and take challah and light Shabbos candles and prepare for mikvah. What else do we do with our hands? And write.
Play piano.
And play music. Thank you. Eat. That's right.
Engage the
Paint. Paint.
engage everything in our life every day through our hands, every aspect of interacting with the world.
That's right.
Touch our loved ones.
Yes. Hashem's given us so much power in our hands. We have no idea how much power we have until we actually stop and think about it. And some people don't have that. They just don't. And thank you for my wrists and my arms and my elbows and my shoulders. Let's just stretch our shoulders up and down. And my spine and my back and the ability to sit in this chair, to sit up straight and to stand and balance on my feet. Anything else you could think of with your back.
Piggyback rides.
And give piggyback rides to the kids.
Yeah.
To daven to Hashem, to do modim. That's right. Without a back and control of your back, you can't do that. Thank you for my neck Let's turn our head, the ability to turn my head and control all the muscles in my body and look in any direction I want to. I mean, just being able to turn your neck, not everyone can do that. And thank you for my head, and my skull, my brain, my mind, my pineal gland. Thank you, Orit. For the ability to choose my thoughts. For the ability to choose my desires, my ratzon. For the ability to choose my actions and my reactions to my reactions. Because I can't always choose my reactions, but I can choose my reactions to my reactions. And thank you for my hair, my eyebrows, my eyelashes, my face, my features. I was once in a taxi driver's car and I noticed he had no ear. Like he must have been in the war and his ear was just not there. And I was like, thank you for my features, you know? And I know a woman who she can't smile, like her features aren't working. It's like, wow, I can smile at people. I have a normal looking face, you know? It's incredible. And so many women just have body image issues. And if we go inside and we just appreciate the bodies that we were given and love them just the way they are, they're incredible. And thank you for my skin. Thank you for my eyes that can see this beautiful, magnificent, and majestic and stunning world that Hashem gave us to enjoy every day. In this moment, the sun, the sunrise, the sky, the clouds, the hills, the grass, flowers, trees, each bush and leaf and all the growing things. The colors, the shapes, the light and the shadow, the animals and the people. What else? What else do we love to look at?
Our children,
Our children, our sweet children.
family, birds,
The birds. Oh,
trees.
yeah.
Sounds, the sounds.
Thank you for my ears that can hear the sounds around me. That can hear my tefillos. That can hear people talking to me and communicating with me. That can hear music. That can hear the birds chirping in the morning. That can hear people speaking to me. Thank you for my nose that can smell fresh air. That could smell the smell of fresh baked bread. I could smell flowers and besamim. Thank you for my mouth that could speak and daven and communicate. Thank you for my lips, my teeth, my gums, my tongue, my jaw, and my cheeks. Thank you for my palate and my throat. Thank you for saliva, for the ability to swallow and speak and eat and drink independently. Anything I left out, please speak up.
Teeth.
Yes. My teeth that can chew food. So from toe to head, we can thank Hashem for so many things every single day. And I thank Hashem for the opportunity to thank Hashem because it truly changed my life. One of the things I'm working on right now, one of the projects, is to help women who have trouble going to the mikvah because they don't feel comfortable or safe in their bodies, and to help them be able to get to that place and to even go to the mikvah and be with them if it's traumatic for them. Because I work with survivors, and so many women struggle with that mitzvah. And I'm just so grateful Hashem gave me that healing to be able to take back my body and to be able to love myself and just feel comfortable in my own skin, which for years I couldn't even imagine such a thing. Thank you, Hashem, for that. And thank you for listening. And thank you for coming. And thank you, Hashem, for all of you. Beautiful, special women.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.